Oh. A little bit of morning practice. So yesterday I started some. Let's get this light correctly. Yesterday I started some practice because I hadn't done some practice for a little while, and I thought it would be quite good for you to see how I practice in the morning. So this morning I started looking at the groups that I developed for the manual. And you know, the great thing about working so intently about on something is that you start to see more about the structure. For instance, you know, in the manual I put A, M, N, V, and W. And after teaching the class about Copperplate script for quite some time, I started to think that even the A, M, N, V, W group should actually be the A, M, V, W, and N group. Because one of the problems with Copperplate script is, I think, I'm just trying to find the best place for this camera. We tend to mix up because the N is actually nothing like the V. It's actually more like the S. The S that starts at the bottom and goes up and back and around on itself. And we don't really sort of concentrate on how the structure of how the structure of the shapes work. We're just sort of either guessing or we are just, you know, managing with what other people tell us. So, you know, one of the things I try to get my students to do is to work critically and really sort of think about what they're doing and really think through the steps and think through the process. How do you get a thick crossbar on top of a T with an oblique holder? You don't. That's why you don't use an oblique holder for Copperplate script. So this is one of the things that I'm very conscious of trying to get people to work on. You know, Copperplate script in its height in the 18th century was not done with an oblique holder. Copperplate script was done with, English roundhand rather, was done with a straight cut quill. Well, it's a little more complicated than that. But the tool was a straight tool. It wasn't an oblique tool. Oblique holders were only developed for Spencerian script. But there are copperplate-based script structures which oblique holders work well for, like engravers and engrosser script. But they don't really work well for traditional English roundhand script and English copperplate script based on English roundhand scripts. So understanding how this works and how the two tools work is really important. I looked at a structure, looking at what the difference is between the script when it's written with an oblique holder and the script when it's written with a straight holder. And you know, I would suggest that you try to do this yourself. Right at about 10 mil, so that you can really start to see the comparative structures. You know, a lot of people are not aware of what the structures look like. You have to be much more aware of what's happening with the shape and the angle. You probably noticed that one of the things that I look at when I'm practicing is I'm looking at where the weights fall in relation to each other. So on the R and on the K, I sort of looked at, you know, where the two weights on the, not the line of universal beauty is, but the other parts of the stroke, the slanted swell stroke and the swell stroke, where are they? Where are they facing? Where are they in relation to each other? So, you know, you could do a whole page of those two letters, the K and the H, and work on how they work together. I mean, calligraphy is not easy. You know, people always say, I want to learn calligraphy, but, you know, what they fail to realize is calligraphy, the word covers a broad expanse of scripts. Usually if somebody says, I want to learn calligraphy, I usually say, good, that's then choose a script. So working on a script really helps you to understand how the script works. I know lots of people are confused by this situation with what is copperplate, what is English roundhand, what is engravers, what is engrossers. And it can be a little confusing. I know it's hard finding the right material on this. And I am working on something that I hope will help to clarify this. Anyway, enough waffling on. I'm going to go back to my practice. And tomorrow I will do another live. For those of you who joined me yesterday, thank you very much for joining me again today. As you know, I don't really talk when I'm writing because obviously you're going to make mistakes. Somebody said earlier on, the line goes exactly to, let's see if I can find this comment. It was a really, really nice comment. Reaching a new destination with every stroke. Brilliant. You know, you have to know exactly what you have to do. You have to know exactly what the stroke is. You have to know exactly how it works. You have to know where the nib is going on that line. And it's going from there to there. And it's going back up to there. And it's coming back down to there. And if you're not aware that the lines, that you have to touch those two lines, the scripts and the letter forms are never, ever going to be consistent in shape, in height. You know, I don't know if you noticed that those of you started at the beginning with me. If you haven't, I'd suggest you go back and look at this. On the first line, I did a V and I pressed too soon and then I corrected it. So the point is to get a hairline start, then a gentle swell, and then a hairline finish. If you don't get a hairline start and a gentle swell and a hairline finish, you're not really writing Copperplate script. You're just writing something that's messy. Because the beauty of the script is the contrast between the thicks and the thins and the swells into the thicks from the thins. So, okay, enough waffling on. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.